Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I wanted to talk to nonprofit leaders a little bit about fundraising and funding your nonprofit organization. I've spoken with a lot of nonprofit leaders who are having problems with this issue. It's always a challenge, I think, for any business leader or nonprofit leader to figure out exactly where all the money is going to come from that they want in order to run their business or their organization. And I was reading a study on capital campaigns which said, what is the easiest way to raise $1 million? And the answer was to find one person who can stroke you a check for $1 million. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I don't know if any of us know that person, but that would be the simplest way. And it's really not out of the realm of the realistic. There are people in our communities who have that type of money. Finding them, getting to know them, and establishing the relationship and getting them to be comfortable enough to give you that amount of money will take some time. But I wanted to think at that elevation, not necessarily that all of you are going to go find yourself a millionaire, but at that elevation, when we're thinking more strategically, we're creating those possibilities of the almost the what if. So, what if I asked you tomorrow you found that person who was going to stroke you a check for $1 million? What would change for your group? What would change for your organization? What would you do over the next year when fundraising wasn't such a challenge, wasn't really an issue for you? Maybe you could put it all over to the side. What would you focus on? And a lot of the nonprofit leaders that have asked that question have come up with very similar responses, which is, well, we would dump that little fundraiser that we do that's not really effective enough, or we would quit doing this particular event because it doesn't really relate to our mission anyway. And I would spend more time focusing on our programs and our mission related services and other areas of the nonprofit. And I think to myself, then why don't we do that? Um, as a business leader, one example I can give you, I know for myself, when I started my company under management consulting, and I was known in the community, and people will come to me, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, but you used to be a professional writer, so I know you can write, and I need content creation. Can you do that?" And they were going to pay me, and I was a new business, so I took the money. Someone who, well, everybody in the community, so can you be my political campaign manager? Well, of course, because I need the money. My business needs clients. But what happened is it confused everybody in the community and in my community and who I wanted to gain services or gain clientele from as to what my company really does. And so it really, yes, it helped me pay my bills at the beginning, but it didn't really show people my value. It didn't show them what I was creating through my business. And I feel like a lot of nonprofit leaders are doing that with their nonprofits as well. As well, we're going to do this thing over here because it's popular, because people will buy tickets, because we can get some money out of it here and there, but it's not really what we do. And so what I learned as a business leader was over time, as I focused on what I really do, which is management consulting, working with entrepreneurs, business leaders, business managers, nonprofit organizations, and really honing those services and knowing exactly what it is I'm offering, how I'm going to offer it, who I'm offering it to, and giving myself the grace and the space to say no to the things that weren't aligned with what my company does as a mission really helped me gain that followership that I needed and get the clientele and the projects that I wanted that got my business to the level of where I wanted to see it go. And so in the business world, what we do in that case is we'll write a business plan. Here's the plan of what I'm going to do, what I'm going to offer, and who I'm going to take it to. And also, it's a written plan that's not just a roadmap for me, but it's also a communication tool. So if I need more campaign, more funding for the projects that I want to do for any growth, then I have that communication tool to give to lenders or to investors. And in the nonprofit world, that transfers over into a strategic plan. So if you have a strategic plan, even better is to add to that the funding plan. Here's what our organization does. Here are the products and services, the programs that we're going to administer. Here's who we're going to administer them to, how we're going to accomplish this. Then you have your own roadmap for your business leaders, your board of directors, your staff, your volunteers that says, here's everybody's role and how we're going to do it. But it's also a really great tool for taking to funders. If you have those written plans, that roadmap that says, we're going to be the best at doing this and this is how we're going to do it, it helps you find those people who are connected to your mission. And it can be a really good communication tool for you to speak to prospective donors, possibly to grant funders, investors, and maybe even that millionaire you've been looking for. So I say, think now about what you would remove if you had $1 million tomorrow, and start focusing on the things that you wouldn't feel pressured for. You know what I mean? The things that your organization is really about. Take the pressure off yourself for not doing, to not do the things that aren't mission related for you, and start focusing on that mission. When you do the work and you show your value, the money will follow. It's the same thing in business. So I'm going to challenge my nonprofit leaders to really think about it. Maybe take to your board or your committee or the rest of your staff and say, okay, if somebody gave us $1 million tomorrow, what would we do differently? And that's where you should focus right now, because once you do that and once you show your value, the money will follow. I hope you will comment if you like the video. Also, other suggestions for things you want to hear about. I'm always interested in the topics that would be interesting and valuable to you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.